Okay, this is another opportunity for us to interview one of our customers. I'm super excited about this chance. This is not only somebody that I have known for a while, but I would say, Keith, you're a friend of mine. I mean, we've been able to hang out and have some good times, and over the course of a few years, get to know you a little bit better at trade shows and through Shirt Lab and other great events like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast.
Well, listen, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes to talk about your experiences. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that you are the proud owner of we call it the screen print killer. No, I'm kidding. It's the Equipment Zone's famous the EasyJet Pro 24. It is our dedicated DTF printer, and we have been selling these now for over a year. So we have lots and lots of customers, but you're a special guy. You're a good guy. You're my friend, and you're going to keep it real, keep it straight, and tell us all the ups and the downs if there are any. And what we really want to do is just get your side of the story, your word, your experience. And so, Keith, as the owner of Precision One Concepts, you've got a rich history. I'd love to hear a little bit about that story. Where did you how did you get into this? First of all, let's go back a little bit. What's your story? How did you get
Well,
started?
we could go back a long ways,
No, no,
actually.
no, not too far, just a little bit.
So, well, I had a screen printing business in the early '90s, and I didn't really know how to run the business back then. So closed it down, went to work for the phone company, and in 2001, I was just getting a ton of people asking me, "Oh, can you get me shirts made, or can you get a banner made, or whatever?" And I ended up buying a plotter and started making banners for people and just had this little side hustle, sign business off to the side. And I started getting busier and busier and busier. My wife said, "You need a storefront or you need to turn business away, because it was taking over the house quite a bit." So,
Your
so
business was
anyway,
taken over. Okay, I get it. I
so
get it.
I got a storefront and hired an employee. I was still working at the phone company, and we were going. And then in 2005, they actually outsourced my job.
Ooh.
So all of a sudden, my sign business became my sole source of income. And then a year later, we started Precision One Graphics with my dad and my sister, and that was how the screen printing side came in, because I said, okay, we'll get back into this. And I told my dad, as long as I don't have to clean screens, I'm good. I'll do everything.
I love that, smart man. That's so cool. I forgot this was a family business. You had told me that before. That's really neat. I love that family business connection. I know it's not easy, and I know things have changed since, but
Oh
right
yeah.
on, dude. That's so cool.
So that's kind of where, like, my dad retired in 2009, and my sister left the company in the middle of 2018. And her husband got a promotion out of state, and she just said, "Okay, it's all yours." And I kind of took everything over, updated a whole bunch of equipment, right at the end of 2018, 2019. And then, of course, like a year later, COVID hits,
Oh, right.
and that
And
that was crazy. So we actually had an auto, and we actually sold it, during COVID,
oh,
because I just didn't have enough work coming in to justify the payment. My family had to eat before I had to make that payment. So that's
oh
kind
yeah,
of
right.
forced my hand and stuff. So, you know, fast forward to a few years later, and we're way more busier than we were before COVID hit, and we have less people, less
Mm.
equipment, because they don't have the auto. And so I was really looking at, what am I going to do? Am I going to get another auto? How do I want to do this? Do I want to still outsource some stuff that I'm outsourcing? And I just really started researching BTF and everything. And I talked to a few people, some really good friends in the industry. And, when one of them mentioned that she was contemplating even selling her auto because she did so much, I was just like going, okay, that's a game changer. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, so that's when I just sent a message to you and Terry and said, hey, I need a printer. So,
I love it. Yes, I remember that. And that was, and I know who you're talking about. I know who your friend is. So believe me, we have thanked her many times. But um, Keith, it's so cool to hear that story and the ups and the downs, and that you had some challenges, but you're back. Your business is back. You've got a great focus. You've got a great balance. I think it's really smart that you have that sign and apparel. Those two together go really well. So I mean, I'm a little biased, but I just think there's been a convergence, and will continue to have a little bit of a convergence with print, promo, and apparel. And I think signage is in that same league. So very cool. Thank you for being the proud owner. Now let's talk about that. So for how long have you had the printer? It's been since last year, November or December? I can't really
Yeah,
remember.
so right after Thanksgiving is when I got the training and technically had it running. It was here for a couple of months ahead of time. And it showed up the day I was going on vacation, and it was a 10-day vacation. I was going to my nephew's wedding, and then we were on a longer vacation. So of course on vacation, I'm wanting to get home and get it going. And then we got it home, and it was just getting the training schedule. It took a little while, but it was just, you guys were busy, and it was just back and forth, back and forth. And but we finally got it. Once we got the training, got it going. I haven't really had any issues, knock on wood, because
Yeah.
always expecting them. But I think if you do like anything, I mean, if you do the maintenance and you take care of things, usually you're going to be fine. And that's what I've been doing, and we're good to go right now.
That's a great story, and I love that, that insight. And there was some truth to that. Let's call it what it was. We were very busy in November and December. We just had a blitz of people trying to order these printers, and we had them in stock. It took us a little extra to get yours to you, and then because of that, it delayed. You were on your trip, so that was another 10 days or so.
Yeah.
So I do remember that. I remember you calling me up going, okay, man, I made this decision now. What's going on, you guys? So we appreciate your patience. It's like everything, the best plans, be flexible, because something's going to happen. I want to touch on something, because I know that because of your sign background, you have previously owned other digital wide format printers. Now I know not a DTF printer, but like a cousin, right? Like you've had other experiences with that. So do you think that lended itself, it created maybe an easier path for you, or did it not matter at all?
I think it probably helped. I think, like doing the maintenance, and if I have to replace the head, or when the time comes to replace the head, because I think eventually, if you print enough with them, with the DTFs, you have to replace the heads, so, but some people have had amazing luck and had 2 and 3 years and not touched the head, which I find really amazing from everything I've researched. But I've had, like, my Roland printer, my wide format, it's 7 or almost 8 years old. This October, I think it'll be like 8 years old. And I've probably touched everything in that, as far as just, and I've had the techs out when it was under warranty and stuff, and, to do things to it and stuff.
Mhm.
I think that knowledge alone, just for the maintenance side, is really good, because I think it's a testament how good, because my Roland is printed probably more vinyl than it was supposed to.
I love that.
And
Okay.
it still works good. So I think I think that's just a testament that if you do take care of things, that, because I mean, I've seen pictures online where people are, and even Roy was showing me pictures of, what some people, and I was like,
Yep.
were they cleaning the machine? Because, I've ran mine a lot, and there's no way it would look like that ever. I would never let it to get to that point,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I think that's really what I was hoping that you would say, is that, be mindful of your printer, take care of it, and it will take care of you. It's that basic concept. It's the same thing as, we have to put oil in our vehicles. And if you don't, we know what happens. And you can say you forgot, you can blame somebody else, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a reflection on
I mean, I think you have to be, I think one of the most mindful things you have to be, and this is with any equipment in your business. I mean, even if it's your office printer, or your computer in general, are you, does it collect a lot of dust? Are you blowing the dust out of your computer? Or has it just been under your desk for 10 years, because what happens when it goes down? What, do you have a backup? Do you have that plan? So if you don't take care of it and it goes down, I mean, I couldn't afford for any of my stuff to be down for very long. I mean, I wouldn't want it down for more than a day, let alone, for a week or 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, I get it. And I'm the same way. Plus, you have production. You have the phone still ringing, your customers still expect you to deliver. There are still events, those baseball games are still happening, that, the trade show's still going on. So yeah, it's a deadline driven business. So that maintenance is really preventative maintenance, daily maintenance. And it's not hard, right? I mean, I don't want to put words into your mouth.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not hard. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, even my Roland is like one of the easiest machines to take care of. It pops up, and it says, hey, you haven't done maintenance for this, whatever. that's if I only skip a week, it lets me know that, hey, you didn't do anything to me last week. You better get on it, so,
Yeah.
but it takes like 5 minutes, and it takes less than 10 minutes at the end of the day to do the DTF machine.
To
I'm probably doing it way quicker than 10 minutes. I'm just giving you a quick example.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But so you're spending maybe 15 minutes a day tops in daily maintenance, a setup routine and a turn down or turn off routine. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, kudos to you. You're a smart business owner. You've had a little experience with obviously other digital printers. So maybe that helped you, not be so fearful. But for somebody who's new, who's never had the experience, we're still here for them. We still help them. They're going to call us a little extra in the beginning. We know that. We plan for that. So it's not like, please, if you're hearing Keith just be like, jumping into the deep end of the pool right away, that's fine. That may not be your experience, but we're prepared whether you're, just learning to swim or whether you're an expert. Keith, what I really want to do too is get a feel for how often are you using your EasyJet Pro? How often are you using the DTF printer?
Just about every day.
Nice.
Today I have a small run I'm going to do this afternoon because just before the call I was putting graphics on the truck, so I got to finish that, and then I got to print some stuff afterwards. So so today, it's a short run. So it's been we got through Little League, a few weeks ago and stuff, and it was running nonstop every day, like over the weekend. Everything every spare minute I had, we were running it because we just had so much to get done. But
Awesome.
so now it's kind of, there's usually after Little League, I usually have a little bit of calm time when we're still busy with a lot of stuff. So, we're maybe screen printing a little more, maybe even screen printing some jobs that I would normally just say, yeah, let's just do it with DTF. But I'm just, I have a new kid here, so a new young guy, and I'm wanting him to learn a lot of different aspects. So I'm having him learn some screen printing instead of just doing DTF right now. So since
very cool.
That time available to do it.
What was the impact on your staff when you got the printer, you're up and running now, you're doing transfers, what was your reaction and what was their reaction when they were like thinking the difference between screen printing and heat applied transfers off your EasyJet Pro?
So definitely Chris, who prints, he's been with us since we started the business. So 17, 18 years since we had the screen printing business. And he's printed on the manual and the auto, but the auto's gone. So now he's back to manual, and so we have a lot of jobs. We have like our fire department, is a 6-color left chest. So just setting that job up and then printing it on the manual, and it's 250 shirts or whatever, and we don't do that anymore. We DTF for sure.
We don't do that anymore. That was perfect.
It's so that impact alone, just the time, and stuff like that, it was Chris was just super ecstatic, and it really has lightened up the load. I mean, one of the biggest things is that I don't think people that are currently screen printers that are maybe looking to go to DTF, I don't think one thing, I mean, hopefully they're looking at it. But in my research, I realized it, but I've realized it now that I've seen it in my own business, is reclaiming of screens. I already said I don't like to wash screens, and I still don't to this day. I've in 17 years, I've probably washed out less than 10 screens because I swore that I was not going to do it. But we don't have, I have probably 200 screens out there, and there's probably 20 of them dirty right now. That's it. Because we do so much more on the DTF side now, because it's faster and it's easier. Registration is perfect.
I love that. Well, listen, there's the real wisdom in that. I mean, if you think about it from the business perspective, you're probably, your employees happier, it sounds like, number one. Then you're running through less chemicals, less cleaning, less solutions, less work. That's got to be a reduction in the workload too. So that person feels a little bit more refreshed. We know your stance on cleaning screens. You're not going to do it unless it was like to save your life. But I mean, I would think it sounds like what you're telling me is it Chris? Chris is pretty happy then.
yeah, he's very happy. And, you know, and we have a dual, heat press, and we bought that at the same time we bought the printer, and it showed up like way before the printer, but I didn't even uncrate it and pick it up. And then I was going, oh, I probably should get this ready, you know, and I got it ready. And then I went out and used it for a job that we had just a whole bunch of numbers, names and numbers for, you know, that we did with heat transfer vinyl. And when I was out there, I was just out there running it, you know, seeing how, and I was going, why didn't I get one of these a long time ago? Because it's amazing how fast you can go with that. So, you know, I think that's a game changer as well. And Emily, who's my embroidery tech, but she does a lot of heat pressing as well. She was just like, she doesn't even want to turn on the swing way or the clamshell anymore. She wants to go out and run that just because she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't pull anything down or, you know, and everything, because it's all, you know, air assist automatic. She loves
Very
it.
cool.
So.
Well, yeah. So it sounds like your team's a little happier, and you've got some new tools and some shiny new tools that are helping them be more efficient, which is probably helping in other areas like creativity or just morale, all of those things. That's awesome to hear that.
I definitely think that, and it was, I mean, you know, Chris is probably, I would put him up with, you know, anybody, you know, in our surrounding area as far as a printer, like being super, super good. But he was just, you know, we were so busy, and he was just, his 8 hours were 8 hours, hard 8 hours. And there were days where, hey, Chris, I need you to work 10, you know, can you work 10 hours for the next 3 days? Or can you come in on Saturday and work Saturday? Or, you know, and so it was a lot of work on him. And he, you know, but now he's, you know, I think he's a lot relieved. It's not that he doesn't want to work but it was a lot of hard work. You know, when you're printing that many shirts annually, it starts adding up, taking a toll. So when we got that relief away, it's just like, you know, and he loves it. He'll go out and press the shirts as well. Now, you know, it's like, hey, we don't have much screen printing today, but we got 300 shirts we got to press. So he's like, okay, no problem.
Yeah, well, that's great. Happy employees, a really important team member, obviously. And as a business owner, Keith, you know, hopefully you've had a reduction and you don't have those overtime hours anymore. And so, you know, maybe that's another windfall for you, another benefit. But so, okay, I've got another question I want to talk to you a little bit about, which was, we got into a really cool conversation with you. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Keith came over to Arizona with a few other folks for our DTF Pro Days. It's kind of an intermediate to advanced level of training where we get you really hands-on. What was that experience like? Did you enjoy that day? Was that a lot of fun?
That was a lot of fun. I mean, I learned some things that I wasn't doing on the machine yet. And, you know, there was just one of the, I think just one of the sponges that I noticed was getting some ink on it, but I was like going in our instructions, I didn't say anything about that one. So I wasn't touching it, wasn't doing anything until Roy was like, oh yeah, you need to do this. And, you know, so you know, learning those different things and some stuff that I didn't know I would even need to do down the road. So that it was very helpful.
Cool. Love it. Love it. Well, it was fun. It's fun to have you over to Arizona for a day. And while you were here, we started talking about how the printer has made a difference in your business. And I know that people that are going to watch this are going to definitely want to hear a little bit about what that was like for you. How has the EasyJet Pro 24 made an impact? And maybe you can think of a way or two. And we talked about those, you know, you do a lot of sports teams and a lot of names and numbers. And you know,
I think that's one of the biggest things. So between our little leagues and our Parks and Rec, and our Parks and Rec is all year long. Little League is usually, you know, March to June will be all stars and stuff. But all of the Little League uniforms usually have a sponsor, a kid's name, and then a number on the back. So we bought pre-cut numbers from stalls because they're like 35. So you buy a pack of 10, it's like $3.50 a pack or whatever. And I don't know. I haven't bought them in a while, so I don't know what they cost. But that's what they were last year. And then I was just doing heat transfer vinyl, and I would just cut it. Then we would have to read all the vinyl. So then we're laying down the name and we're putting the number underneath and we're pressing it. But just that, you know, two different things I got to lay down and line up together and stuff, you know. And everybody goes, well, why didn't you pre-cut the numbers? Because the numbers, it would cost more if I didn't buy the pre-cut numbers. So, but between those two, it was costing me around let's just say like $1.40, $1.25 to
Okay.
something like that. Not counting the labor to weed everything out, not counting the labor to put two pieces down there. To where I print the DTF and it's the exact same thing, but it's laying one item down and stuff, and I don't have to weed and I don't have to do anything, and it's like 70 cents, and that could even be high because there's not that much ink on there, you know,
Right,
it's just a 10 by 10 area. Usually the names or sponsors 10-inch, you know, and we usually do a 6-inch number, 2-inch tall name, you know, so that made a huge difference. That
Yeah.
was
Thank you for saying that, because I was like, that's a dramatic difference. I mean,
the
that's
weeding time alone.
I
So
mean, yeah, right. Labor and the
yeah,
cost of goods,
yeah,
your profitability just went through the roof because
yeah.
you've got the same, you know, receivable for
And then
that
and
order.
then and I talked about this, and we talked about this just a little while ago too, is you can upsell. You could upsell that because maybe your older kids usually have the nicer uniforms, you know, your T-ball and, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds have the, you know, cheaper shirts, but your older kids have nicer shirts, but it was still only one color, name and number, right? So now it's be like going, oh, well, you know, do you guys want to make a red and white number on the back of that navy shirt instead of just a white? And they're like, what? I go, yeah, it only costs you $2 more. It doesn't cost me what, 10 cents more at the
I
most.
would just say a penny more,
Yeah.
pennies,
You know, I'm
literally.
just saying hardly anything else, you know, and so you just, and then now you've just made their jersey that much nicer looking and stuff because you put the second color on there. And it doesn't cost you more. You're not, if I was doing that with vinyl and pre-cut numbers,
You would have upcharged them. Yeah.
it would have been more than $2. It would have been like another $8 to $10 because of the labor and then the cost of the material. So
Right. And it would have
yeah,
been almost not cost prohibitive for you to even offer that.
yeah.
Oh, that's really great insight. I'm glad you shared that, Keith. Thank you. I mean, one job could be a dramatic difference. And it sounds like you had how many teams? I mean, you have the whole league, right? Is that, am I?
Well, there's our District 2 Little League in my area has I think they have 18 leagues, 18 like cities, you know, or you know, 18 actual leagues. And those will have anywhere from 18 to 40 teams. So I only do 3 of those leagues. 2 of them have 40 and another one had 21. So we
And
did like
how?
101 teams with 10 to 14 kids on each team.
Oh my God. No wonder. Okay, so this has been a godsend. This has made a
So
dramatic difference.
one league last year, they had 36 teams, and we did a 2-color print on every kid's shirt last year. Now we did double up screens, you know, flip the screens around, but let's
Mhm.
just say we didn't do that, you know, because this is only one league, and granted, I do 3 a year usually. That's 72 screens. That was 72 screens we didn't have to do this year. We didn't have to reclaim them. We didn't have to burn them. We didn't have to set them up on the press. And then this year it was just like we had some kid. I told one of the leagues, just let them pick whatever team name they want to be, whatever. And I think I was telling you the story about when this young T-ball team, 5-year-old kids, they wanted to be the werewolves. And I was like, so I went on, I was like Googling werewolf images, and everything I found was real gory. I go, I can't put this on a 5-year-old shirt. It was like the parents gonna kill me with blood dripping off the mouth. So I just went into Midjourney and just put in some prompts. And the first one I got back was, and I put in something like, you know, happy werewolf swinging a baseball bat. The first one I got back was like the perfect one. You know, it was just this like, you know, the cat on a baseball hat, everything, swinging the bat. Just got that through some work. I don't know how many colors, 6, 7, 8 colors in it, but I didn't care because it was DTF now. Put the werewolf swording around it, put it on the shirt. It was perfect. And then same thing, we had one called the Diamond Girls, but it was, you know, not the baseball diamond, but an actual physical
Oh,
diamond.
right. Yep. Yep.
And so we did a diamond on, it was a diamond on the little girl's hat, and she had on a baseball glove. But I same thing in Midjourney. It was like 20 seconds after I put it in. It was like the first one was perfect. Put that up, put the Diamond Girls on it, and then we just did a little quick digitize in house for an actual diamond that we sewed on their hats. And you know, I got ton. This was the first year I was doing this league, so I really wanted to kind of impress them and stuff like that. And you know,
And what
they
were the
loved
results? What were the kids saying? What were the parents saying?
oh, it was it was ecstatic. They were just like going, we've never had, you know, they've had one color stuff and two color stuff, and that was all, but they've never had like the full color stuff. And you would never, nobody's gonna ever screen print that because, you know, you're only doing it for 10 to 12 kids, you know, and but we would do a two color that way, you know, and then here's the other thing. Oh yeah, well, we had a kid that signed up late, so can we get one more shirt?
Oh, of course.
So no way I'm gonna do a 5-color job and set that back up for one shirt. I wouldn't even do it for 10 or 12, but what I'm saying is now it's like, yeah, sure, no problem. We can do it all day long. So
I love that. So Keith's quote, yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, what a great thing to say to a parent or a coach or the tournament directors. You know, they're probably just sitting there going, Keith's a wizard. We don't even know how he does it. Which is
it's fun. I mean, that's your ultimate goal is, you know, when you have a happy customer, you know, I take a lot of pride in our repeat business because I can forecast what we're doing every month from what we've done the previous year, you know, and then I have to account for, you know, new work and growth as well, but I still know who's coming back at what time of year for probably 90% of my customer base that I know is coming back. So
brilliant. I think that's so smart. You're a smart business owner for having that for sure. So we could categorically say, yes, this printer has made a huge difference in your business. Is that true?
absolutely.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
such a great thing to hear. So now the reality is it's a digital printer. All digital printers can be a little picky one day, humidity changes. You never know, like we said, knock on wood. Of course, we don't want you to go through any major issues. What have you had to tackle or overcome, or what's your support experience been like since you've owned the EasyJet Pro 24?
So we struggled when we were setting up the printer actually, and Roy thought maybe because it had set for a couple of months, because you guys go through the machines and send them out, and usually when you send them out, you're trying to get them set up pretty fast, and we didn't get it set up for a couple of months. So we thought maybe something was wrong with the head or whatever. But anyway, we got adjustments, we got it dialed in. That was probably my biggest struggle initially. And I had a little things like, you know, I had the collision error where the little grates underneath, you know, maybe scrape the sponge or something. And, you know, and I'm freaking out and I'm texting Roy or trying to call in and say, what do I do? And oh, you just do this really quick. It was just something, you know, you guys are really good on helping me out and stuff, but I didn't have, like I said, I haven't had a lot of issues at all. You know, not anything that I didn't get answered really fast, and it wasn't anything major, thankfully. Um,
Great.
and I think, but I really know that the support's there, and especially going to the pro day and stuff, and just looking at that much more. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, if they're depending on where you guys are having it and stuff like that, you know, it may be it's a long trip if they're flying all the way across the country to Arizona. For me, I'm in Northern California, so you know, it's an hour and a half flight down or whatever. But I would encourage anybody to go to that after they get the printer if they can, because it's just that much more, and it is hands-on. You get to, you know, if it's something you're not used to doing, you know, if you've never changed a damper. I know one of the guys that was in the
Yeah,
class, he
that was his
hadn't done it
first time,
before, so
right?
he was like, you know, and stuff. I've done it a lot on my Roland and stuff, so I kind of was familiar with it. But yeah, it's doing all of that stuff is just it's key and it's ideal to learn how to do it. It just makes life a lot easier.
Love that. So I'm going to check you down for a pretty good experience so far. And like you said, thank goodness you haven't had any major issues, and anything that you've had has been minor, and our team's been responsive. So obviously we're not perfect. We've never claimed to be perfect, but we definitely want to take care of you. We definitely will call you back. We definitely will try to help you resolve your situation as fast as is possible, because the reality, Keith, as you know, most of us have had businesses or have owned equipment and we've been in production. So we are very familiar with what it feels like to be staring at your printer and, you know, you're wondering when is it going to work again? And we just don't want that feeling. We want to avoid that as much as is possible. So part of that's on you in terms of, you know, the owner or whoever the operator is to maintain the daily maintenance. Part of it's on us to make sure that we're prepared with parts, which we are, and part of it's our team, so that you can get the support. You can get somebody in New Jersey or somebody here in Arizona that can help walk you through something. when you're panicking and you think this is the end of the world, it's so refreshing to have somebody on the other end of the phone say, oh no, it's no big deal, Keith. We got you, you know, just do this and you're good. And you're like, ah, so anyway, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. And honestly, thank you for being such a great customer. You know what? People are going to be interested in seeing some of your videos. I know you like TikTok because you've done some business through TikTok. So where might people find you? What's your website? And if you don't mind, share your TikTok channel.
So Facebook, I mean, I have personal, but I have business, Precision One Concepts. There's actually two Facebook pages that are Precision One Concepts, because one was the sign business and one was the apparel business. And when I combined them into one, Facebook said you have to name them the same, do everything before they would combine them. And I did all that and they still won't let them combine. So
thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Meta.
Yeah. So, and then I'm on, so on Instagram, it's Precision One Apparel, and TikTok, it's Precision One Apparel as well. And if you go to TikTok, you're going to see a bunch of videos where I'm using the DTF printer, and I'm using it. You'll see my auto, you'll see my manual, you'll see my lasers.
See the whole shop. We'll see it all the goodies, all the toys.
See all the embroidery stuff, everything. But I do a lot of work still on TikTok, and that's another reason, because we do a lot of online stores for a few influencers, and now I can up my game with designs for them and not just have to worry about it being a 1 or 2 color design that I gotta like pop up a couple screens and print. I can just,
you can go wild. You've got every color possible now at your fingertips with no limits. I bet that's refreshing, right? To be able to have something that you can just be almost unlimited on in design.
It's very cool, and I'm still learning Midjourney right now and stuff like that. It's very powerful. And I mean, I think a lot of the AIs, it's just the one that I use.
Right.
But I think that's, because it's your own design. I mean, I love dragons. I got a tattoo of a really cool dragon and stuff. And my first design in Midjourney was this really cool dragon. And I printed it when we were at Long Beach this last year. I had it, or earlier this year. I had it on a sweatshirt and I was bragging about it, and people were filling it and they were going, that's not a screen print, or that, because it was just the way I did the artwork afterwards, and stuff. To be my very first thing and the very first thing I printed with the DTF, it was pretty amazing. So.
Oh, that's a cool story. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So you were a proud papa. You're walking around Long Beach all, look at me, look at what I do.
And of course, it's a one-of-a-kind dragon. Nobody else has it because it was my dragon. So.
Absolutely. Well, Keith Burwell, it is such a pleasure to catch you again. Thank you for taking some time today. The owner of Precision One Concepts, great guy, family business. If you don't connect with Keith on socials, you're making a mistake. So definitely connect with Keith. And until we see each other soon, my friend, take care. Okay.
All right. You too.
All right. Thanks, Keith.
All right. Thanks.